If you're like me, you're probably already really excited for part 2 of this campaign, especially when part 1 has been just such a blast so far. From the Super Saiyan Blues being incredibly good and even the Rosé unit being incredibly good as well, on top of that being given 5 amazing free-to-play units, all decent options on a Future Saga or Extreme Class team, it's just got my hypes levels just at the max, right? But that's the thing, is if we go ahead and scroll down here to the actual news, we can see that they've been trying to hide when the end of part 1 is. Usually they give the actual date on when the music will stop, and that is kind of how we can tell when the start of part 2 will be. But they changed it this year where it doesn't say that. It just shows the duration being from, well, 3 days ago to the end of part 1. That being said, it's not like they don't follow a certain format each time, right? And that's what we're going to go ahead and talk about. Especially if you're like me, who is excited for Carnival, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and Dokkan Fest Mega Shenron. You want to know when that's going to happen. If we go ahead and look at other celebrations like the 10th year anniversary, 9th year anniversary, we can go ahead and look at stuff like that. So with 9th year anniversary, Super Saiyan Gogeta, we can see here that he dropped on the 9th of July or the 29th of January for JP, and then 2.5 weeks later, that's when Beast Gohan dropped for part 2. We go ahead and look at Tech Broly, we could see the exact same thing, August 28th, 2024, and then 2.5 weeks later, who's here? Yep, it is Int LR Broly. We go ahead and keep going further. We have the AGO Blues from 2023 on August 27th. And then we go over here, and Future Gohan and Physical Super Saiyan Trunks dropped on the September 15th, 2023. That being said, it's not like they don't obviously have it where the part 2 starts before the units drop. So if I had to give an estimate, it would probably be somewhere around like the 20th is when we would most likely get the info. And again, this is a little bit different this year because if you guys recall, this is not this is technically a new celebration, right? The Global Dokkan campaign is similar to Worldwide, but it was just swapped with the Tanabata slot. So because of that, that might be the reason why they're trying to hide it, is because we don't necessarily know the actual date right now. But again, if I had to imagine, it would most likely be around the 20th is when the actual part 2 is going to start. And we can go ahead and see that that's mostly how they do it, right? Like let me think. I think it was like 54 was the page. If anything, I'll just pause if it's not on this one. No, it's right here. Okay. But the thing I was trying to say is that, again, they don't start it immediately after, right? Like they have, let's see, this is when the celebration ended, so it'd be like 2 more pages down. This is part 3. That's the top grossing for Int LR Broly. But yeah, here, this is what the main point I was trying to make. Really? See, I think Anniversary is a little bit different because from what I recall with Anniversary, the part 2 doesn't start at the actual same time as the banner drops, but I guess it was like that for this. Let me go ahead and pause real quick. Let me go back to the 10th year anniversary and check that for sure. I know why I got confused. The reason why I got confused was because that's how Global used to do the celebrations, but I forgot that JP handles it a lot differently. So I'm still with Global Brain over here. But anyways, we can see here that the start of the part 2 was on the 14th of February. And then we can go ahead and see here that the part 1 of, well, this is just part 1 of the celebration. I accidentally clicked on the one that has the summon tickets, but you can see here that it was on the 28th, which is exactly when the unit dropped, which was on the 28th. Then as well with that was part 1 of the actual celebration. Then part 2 drops. It's the 14th. Remember that 2.5 week period that we were kind of talking about earlier, or somewhere around that time. And then that's when the part 2 of the celebration will be. So again, if you are wondering, it's basically just going to be within 2.5 weeks, and that's when we would see the actual content drop. On top of that, something you could also use to know for sure as well is if we just keep scrolling back down here, back when it was the 10th year anniversary, we can see as well that they always do the live stream or the broadcast for part 2 a couple days before the actual part 2 actually starts. So we can see here there's confirming that the broadcast was for the 14th. Then after the broadcast finished airing, that's when the part 2 of the actual celebration started. They announced Gogeta. We had the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan and the Go Frieza announced as well. And then later that day, I believe, was when we were able to summon on the units. So again, if we were just basically going on how that schedule was, remember that they released the units on the 6th. So around the 20th, I would say, 21st maybe, or the 20th to the 22nd is when they would announce the actual reveal of the units. And then around the 23rd-ish, I would say. Because most of the time they usually like to drop it on either a Monday or a Wednesday, I've noticed. Well, like I guess it just varies from celebration to celebration, but Wednesday is probably when I would expect it. So like on the 23rd is when I would expect Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and Omega Shenron to drop, but the announcement to be between from the 20th to the 22nd, so that way we could obviously see all of the information of the new units before they actually drop. Either way though, how are you guys liking the celebration so far, and what do you guys hope for most with part 2 of this anniversary? Not this anniversary, sorry, the Global Dokkan campaign. I keep talking about anniversary so much. The one thing that I would probably say that I would want to see the most is just maybe more free-to-play units, possibly an LR, kind of how they did with Bio Broly. I think that that could be a really awesome thing if they do, but the only thing that would make me think that they're not going to drop something like that is because they already did the STR LR EZA for Zamasu Goku. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to happen, right? Especially because it's going to be a completely different campaign. Or not campaign, different saga, right? We're going from Future Saga all the way to GT. And if GT is going to need help, which it clearly does, they need to drop some sort of LR, or they need to do some sort of EZA, so that way these units can be just, or this team can be competent. Because as of right now, AGL LR Omega Shenron needs like the entire team to be GT bosses, and we have nothing. There is nothing we can use as of right now. He is the last unit from GT bosses, and he is going to be the brand new unit who can't even link up with him, right? Maybe as a floating unit, right? But we'll see. Anyways, though, that is all the time we're going to spend on this one. Thank you all. Hope you guys all have a great extra week. Like, comment, subscribe to all that good stuff. It really helps out the channel a lot, and you're always free to unsubscribe later if you don't like the content. But thank you all. Hope you guys have a great week. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.